Welcome back to Anderson's Smoke Show. Today, we are going to smoke some spare ribs in the Masterbuilt Gravity Series 560 using the 3-2-1 method. Stick around, see how we do it. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and ring that bell so that you can keep up with the latest content. Like the video, write me a comment, let me know what you think. Now let's get to smoking them spare ribs. All right, so with these ribs, we are gonna start off by opening them up. I've got my knife here. And now we're gonna go ahead and remove that silver skin off the back of these ribs. Come in and check it out. Now what you wanna do is just flip these over. One of the easiest ways to do this is with a butter knife. We're gonna start down here at the end, and we just wanna get underneath these ribs here with this butter knife and just get it started. Just pry up a little bit. We just want it to get started. Like so. See that there? Now, the easiest way to pull that off is with a piece of paper towel. So I'm gonna grab that silver skin and we are just going to pull that back off that slab of ribs. You can see there was a little bit of a cut in this rib here, so we'll try and get it all. And we got just a little bit left here. We've got one rack down. Let's go ahead, get another. Same thing, we're gonna go down here at the small end. Get that butter knife underneath, like so, and just gently pry up. We just want to try and keep it intact and just get it peeled away from the end there. I think we've got it. Yep. We'll take that paper towel again. Look at that. Go. I'm gonna trim that up just a little bit there. All right. And we will move to the last rack. We're gonna do the same thing here. One thing that I always like to do is to set some paper towel down, and I like to pat dry these ribs just to get that excess juice and moisture off the surface, because we're actually going to use a little bit of a binder today. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. All right, I got these dried up. We're gonna go ahead and trim them a little bit. Now these are pretty small. They're gonna cook fast. So I'm actually gonna go ahead, I'm gonna find that second to last bone or so, and I'm just gonna cut just past that so we can get a nice big rack. Just set those off to the side for a moment. I'll trim up any loose ends, anything that seems to need squared off. I'm all out of black gloves, so I gotta do this barehanded. I went in and just washed my hands because I just handled that raw pork. We're gonna go ahead and get these things seasoned up. I'm gonna start off by using some of the Cornhuskers duck fat spray as a binder, and I'm just gonna give it a little spritz. Next, I'm going to use the Sucklebusters Texas Pecan. And I'm gonna put a nice thick coat of this Texas Pecan Barbecue Rub. This stuff is great, a little sweet, a little nutty, a little bit of heat. It's gonna go great on these ribs. Now I'm gonna take some of the Sucklebusters Honey Barbecue and just do a quick little coat on top. This has got a little bit more sweet to it, and we're just doing a quick coat there. I'm gonna take my right hand and I'm just gonna pat these spices down onto the ribs, make sure they're sticking pretty well, because I'm gonna need to flip these over, spice up the other side. Once again with the Cornhuskers duck fat spray. Again with the Texas Pecan Rub. And again with the Honey Barbecue. This side does seem a little dry. I'm gonna hit it again with the duck fat just so those spices stick a little better. And I will pat that on. Flip these back over. Look at that color. That is some nice, beautiful color there on them ribs. Wow. All right, so we got these ribs seasoned. It is time to go get the Masterbuilt Gravity Series 560 fired up. I'll meet you over there. All right, I'm gonna start out today with some of the Cowboy hickory chunks. Now remember, with this hopper, you can only put up to 1.5 pounds of hardwood in there. So pretty low on charcoal in here towards the bottom. I'm gonna throw about 4 chunks of wood in here. And I've got some Kingsford briquettes. Gonna go ahead and top it off with this. All right, now it's time to get this fire started. Now I've got my fire starter in here. I've got my little butane torch. I recommend if you get one of these to get a little torch of some sort. It will help getting this started a lot faster. Go ahead and get that lit. Just start working on that fire starter here. As you can see, the fire starter is going and it's starting to work on those coals. We're gonna go ahead and let this go for like 3, 4, 5 minutes. We're gonna check on that, make sure that the coals are starting to burn and get nice and hot before we do anything else. We'll see you in a few minutes. All right, we've had this fire starter going for like 5 minutes or so. It is really starting to burn, it is ready. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna close these lids here. I'm going to immediately open up these vents for air. Come over here. I'm gonna turn the controller on. We're gonna hit the temperature button here. We're gonna set it to 200 degrees. And hit the temperature button again, that'll set the temperature. All right, for these 3-2-1 ribs, we're gonna start out for 3 hours at 200 degrees. We just got the grill set to 200. We're gonna let it warm up for a few minutes. Then we'll get those ribs loaded up. All right, the grill is up to 200 degrees. We've got these ribs ready to go in. Let's do it. Now, we've got these racks set to the smoke side, so that gives us the top of the peak. And one thing with this grill is I'm only gonna be able to put 2 racks of ribs down at the bottom. I'm gonna have to put another up at the top. I'm also going to take the thickest side and set them down here, but I'm gonna try and hug them up as close to the left side as possible, just to leave a little space there. Got another thick one here. Let's set that here. All right. And I'm gonna take this last one, which is the thinnest of the three, and I'm gonna set it up top. We've got these ribs in the Masterbuilt. It's set to 200 degrees. We're gonna let these ribs smoke for 3 hours. We're gonna check on them periodically, about every half hour to an hour. I've got some cherry Dr. Pepper in a spritzer bottle. We will spray them if they start to look like they're dry on the surface. We'll see you then. All right, these ribs have been in for about an hour and a half. It's time to spritz them. I've got some cherry Dr. Pepper in this bottle here. Come on in. And I'm just working on the dry spots here. See the front and the edges here, this slab. Now, if you're working with any kind of soda in a bottle, you're gonna wanna unscrew the top, maybe give it a spray or two. If not, it'll bubble out all over your counter or grill or wherever you're keeping it. So we've done that. We're gonna go ahead and keep an eye on these ribs for the next hour and a half to finish up that 3-hour period. If we see at any point that parts of the ribs are dry, we'll spritz it again. We'll see at that end of the 3-hour mark. All right, we're back out here at the Masterbuilt. It's been 3 hours since we put those ribs in. We spritzed them probably 4 or 5 times, about on the half-hour, 40-minute mark when those ribs look dry. It is time to get them out and get them wrapped in foil. Nice, bright, colorful. A little bit of that Texas pecan, that honey barbecue. All right, let's get them wrapped up in foil. But before we do, the next stage, 2 hours wrapped in foil, is done at 225 degrees. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the grill set now. That way that it's nice and ready when we are. All right. So I've got me some heavy duty Reynolds wrap here. I am going to take some of my duck fat spray, spray it there on the foil. I'm also going to take my Dr. Pepper that I spritzed those with, and I'm just gonna put a little bit in there. I know it doesn't look like much. I don't plan it to be. All right. I'm going to take a little bit of my pecan rub. I'm just gonna put that right back on. Spritz it a little bit just to get it to stick. Same thing with the honey barbecue. Just a little bit. I'm gonna take that slab and I'm gonna lay it face down. You wanna be careful with the bones. They can be a little sharp. We don't want it to pierce the foil. We want this to be nice and closed up here. So I'm gonna carefully just fold the ends over, tuck it in a little bit. All right, I'm gonna set those off to the side. We're gonna do the same with the next slab. We're gonna go ahead and get these back over to the grill. And we want to cook them face down now so that the juices stay within the majority of the meat. Go ahead and pull this sucker open. Put this one up top. This one down at the bottom. And this one right there. Now, 225 degrees, wrapped in foil, 2 hours. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and set the timer again. We're gonna hit connect so we can connect to the grill. gonna go to remote, we're gonna say set time, and we want 2 hours. Oh, it wants me to connect to the grill, so let's go over here. For some reason it's not connected. This button right here will allow me to connect to the grill. Now I should be connected. Let's say set timer, 2 hours, set time. There we go. You can see right there, 2 hours. We'll see in a little bit. All right, we've had these ribs in the smoker for 2 hours wrapped at 225 degrees. We're gonna go ahead and get them out now. Now, I just checked the charcoal. I noticed that we're running a little bit low even though we filled it before the smoke. Let's go ahead and get a little bit more in here. And why don't you come check it out and see how much we've got in here. So, just for the heck of it, I'm gonna throw a few chunks of the hickory wood down in here. One more small one. And then I'm gonna put a little bit more of the Kingsford. We'll go ahead and close this up here. We'll let that equalize there. We'll go over here and start working on these ribs. Now these are gonna be hot. I'm just going to carefully move these over here really quickly. What I anticipate doing here is just getting these out of the foil and back onto this pan. You can see they're starting to pull away from the bones there. Nice and juicy. Oh, look at that bend. Got a nice little bend there. I'm gonna flip this back over there. All right, now sometimes I'm a sauce guy, sometimes I'm not when it comes to ribs. I'm gonna put a light coat on these as we get them back into the grill. Let's go ahead and do it. So I've got some of this Lily's Carolina barbecue sauce. Take some of this barbecue sauce here, and we'll just put a light little coat here just to get the surface moist. The 3-2-1 method is pretty foolproof for the most part, but the one thing that you want to remember is that one of the most important parts is still internal temperature. 3-2-1 is going to give you some moist and very tender ribs, but you could still overcook them and undercook them with that method. So it's suggested that we use a good probe thermometer and check the internal temperature. We are looking to pull these ribs at about 195 degrees. Now, based off of the look of these racks of ribs, they are not cooked evenly from one rack to the other. This rack is pretty dang close. This one is really close. If not, it's close to being done already. And this one still has some time. And you can just tell based off of how much that meat has pulled off of the bones already. So to finish up the last portion of the 3-2-1, it calls for 1 hour at 225 degrees out of the foil, just like you see. If you want to sauce them, now's the time to do it. If not, that's fine too. But remember, internal temperature is more important than time. We want to pull these ribs when we hit 195 degrees. All right, we just concluded that last 1 hour mark. We're gonna go ahead and pull these out. I checked the temperature. We're right up there around 195 degrees. This one rack here does need a little bit more time. Now this is gonna be challenging because these ribs are super tender. And then I'm gonna move these back down here. We'll give these just a little bit more time. All right, we've got 2 of these racks done. We're waiting on the 3rd, but that doesn't mean we have to wait to taste them. So why don't you come on in here? We'll cut one of these ribs out. Look at that, just falling right off the bone. Looks like we've got a nice little smoke ring there. You can see that pink up there. It was up near the surface. Nice and juicy and tender. Look at that. It's falling right off the bone. The way I like it. Let's give it the official taste test. Oh wow, that's really good. It's just the right amount of sweet, a tiny bit of heat, and a little bit of tang. That Carolina barbecue sauce is a little tangy, and it just goes really well with those Sucklebusters rubs. And this is the first long smoke that we've done on the Masterbuilt. I can really taste that charcoal flavor. It's good. Try another piece here. That's delicious. Well, I'm gonna keep eating here. We'll see you next time. Thanks again for tuning in to Anderson Smoke Show. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel so that you can keep up with the latest content.